The Blackwater heist remains one of the most pivotal events in the lore of Red Dead Redemption 2, setting the stage for the game's narrative and the eventual downfall of the Van der Linde gang. Although the event is never shown in the game series, the job's catastrophic failure not only led to the loss of a significant sum of money, but also marked the beginning of the end for the gang. Since the game's release over half a decade ago, speculation and theories about what actually happened in Blackwater have only grown. Central to discussions about what went wrong is the role of Micah Bell, a character whose later actions reveal him as a betrayer and instigator of discord. But what if Micah was not the problem in Blackwater at all? What if Micah was not involved in the job at all? Could the heist have been successful without him? This video will explore the hypothetical scenario where Micah was not involved in the Blackwater job and go answer the question of whether the heist would have gone smoothly without him. If you enjoy videos like this one, please be sure to subscribe, as 99% of viewers have not done so. As always, I appreciate all of your support. Now let's dive into Micah's involvement in the Blackwater job. Before we dive in, it is important to go over what we know in regards to Micah's involvement with the heist for a fact before we start speculating. We know that Micah was indeed an instigator in the moments leading up to mayhem during the job. We know this because of a scene between John Marston and the strange man.
Hello, John. John Marston.
Do I know you?
I hope so. I seem to know you.
I'm pretty good at remembering faces.
Are you? Do you remember Hattie McCourt's face?
Who?
She was a girl Dutch van der Linde shot in the head on that raid on the ferry a few years back. Same one you got shot on. Pretty girl, until her eye was hanging out by a thread of tendon and her brain was plastered over a wall.
The strange man reminds John of Heidi McCourt's death, an innocent woman that was killed at the hands of Dutch during the job. John was traumatized by her death, recalls it being the moment everything started going downhill.
We're bad men. We're fighters, I know. But sometimes I start thinking about that girl. Well, Javier knows what we saw and it weren't pretty. Ask Micah. Although he encouraged it, weren't pretty at all. I just hope Dutch was right when he said that we had to do it to survive. Sometimes you just gotta do really bad things, I guess. Oh, hey, Arthur.
Her death was random and uncalled for. John also recalls Micah being the one that encouraged Dutch to kill her. If you would like to know more information about the innocent death of Heidi McCourt, we have a video all about that on our channel. But that is about as many details as we get on Micah's involvement with the job. And because the events happened before the game starts, we are left with more questions than answers. However, piecing together evidence from what we do see in-game can help us paint a picture of the possible events and how they could have gone differently if Micah was never involved with the gang. Throughout the game, Micah Bell's influence on Dutch and the gang was profoundly negative. His manipulative nature and penchant for violence often exacerbated situations. Without Micah's presence, it's plausible that Dutch's decision-making would have been less rash and more in line with the cautious and calculated approach seen by him in the beginning of the game. We have to remember that in the later parts of the game, Micah feeds into Dutch's paranoia and helps him plan and execute poorly planned heists that often ended in violence and the downfall of the gang. All while Dutch was worried about a rat, who was none other than Micah himself. Micah's absence could have fostered a more unified and less paranoid gang, potentially leading to a more carefully planned and executed heist. However, we can't know for sure. As mentioned before, Dutch was mostly sane at the start of the game and seemed to think his plans through with Arthur and Hosea. But at the same time, the town of Blackwater represented the burgeoning prosperity and order of the turn-of-the-century American West, a stark contrast to the gang's anarchic lifestyle. Dutch's decision to target such a well-established and modern city highlights a fundamental misjudgment of the gang's ability to operate under the radar, which wouldn't be the first time in the game. The gang's methods and appearance would have made them conspicuous in a city emblematic of the new century's progress. This argument suggests that the heist's failure was inevitable, given the gang's inability to blend into the changing social and economic fabric of the region. With that, the gang's downfall can be attributed to their failure to adapt to the changing times. They were relics of the 1870s, clinging to outdated methods in an era where law enforcement was rapidly evolving. This argument posits that Blackwater's failure was not solely due to Micah's involvement, but was a manifestation of the gang's broader inability to recognize and adapt to the shifting landscape of the American West. The gang thought they could just rob a bank and run and no one would care. But those days were over, and either they didn't notice, or were thinking irrationally. While the law improved its tactics, cooperating with elite agents, Dutch thought they could rob a train right after robbing a bank, and then rob another few trains, and rob a national bank, and go unnoticed, as the gang runs in the wind. Perhaps it is fair to say the gang was always doomed, and the Blackwater heist was just the first time they had to consider it. The true nature of the Blackwater disaster was also shrouded with speculation about it being a setup. This theory comes from the fact that Micah was later found to be the rat of the gang. If the Blackwater job was indeed a setup, Micah's potential role in orchestrating it and hoping to escape with the money while the gang took the fall adds a layer of intrigue. This scenario underscores the gang's precarious position and the constant threat of betrayal from within. While Agent Milton claims Micah became an informant only after the gang's return from Guarma, the discovery of Dutch's bounty poster in Micah's camp in early Chapter 2 suggests he may have been playing a double game much earlier. This lends credence to the theory that the Blackwater heist was a setup from the beginning, with Micah possibly leaking information to the Pinkertons while instigating Dutch to make bad moves during the job, such as taking the life of Heidi McCourt. Micah's obsession with the Blackwater money, evident throughout the game, suggests a long-standing plan to secure it for himself, regardless of the gang's fate. However, on the other hand, there is reason to believe Milton wasn't lying about when Micah became an informant. When Milton makes the revelation known to the gang, he pretty much had the gang against the ropes and couldn't lose. Milton would have gained nothing from lying at this point. It is also important to note that Milton, while brutal and ruthless at times, really wasn't a liar. There's not one time in game that Milton straight up lies from what we can tell. It seems more like it would be a trait of Agent Ross instead. But even if Milton's claims of Micah being an informant only after the gang's dispatch to Guarma are true, that doesn't mean that the Blackwater job wasn't a trap, even if Micah did not set it up directly. As mentioned before, Blackwater is perhaps the most established Midwestern city in the game, comparable to San Denis in prosperity, but where San Denis has the creeping corrosion of old money, Blackwater felt like a new city on the up and up. With that, the Pinkertons probably knew Blackwater was a prime target and was more than likely able to be prepared for an eventual theft. Hosea can be heard mentioning that he had a job that was a bit less lucrative, but far less dangerous lined up at the same time as the Blackwater job.
These people alive.
Pinkertons. Lots of them, and bounty hunters too, more than ever before, and all after us. We were set up in Blackwater.
And none of them dumb enough to take that pass in winter or think us fool enough to do it neither. We got a few weeks. By the time they find out where we are, we'll be gone.
Where to?
I ain't got that yet. But this ain't done. Not no way.
You warned them about that Blackwater job.
Yes, but who listens to me anymore?
Oh, we'll work this out.
The gang ultimately went for high risk, high reward, and got burned. Although Micah encouraged this as mentioned before, it is not safe to say that the job was 100% his idea, as Dutch had a pattern of challenging folks of power and taking risks to do so. And considering how much money was involved, Micah's involvement might have never changed anything that was going to happen at all. In conclusion, the Blackwater heist in Red Dead Redemption 2 remains a fascinating subject of speculation and analysis, embodying the game's themes of betrayal, change, and the inevitable decline of the outlaw way of life. While Micah Bell's role as a provocateur and betrayer is undeniable, the disaster at Blackwater reflects deeper issues within the Van der Linde gang and the changing world around them. Whether Micah's absence would have altered the outcome of the heist is a question that invites players to ponder the complexities of fate, loyalty, and the choices that define us. As we continue to dissect and discuss these moments, we're reminded of the rich narrative tapestry that makes Red Dead Redemption 2 a landmark in storytelling. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of one of gaming's most intriguing what-ifs. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the lore and mysteries of our favorite games. Your support fuels our passion for uncovering the stories behind the pixels. Be sure to let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.